Another thing about online that I've seen is the online campus is really the front door to our church. So we're getting a lot of people that are looking for a new church. They're going to go to our online service before they come to our physical locations.
Does your church actually need an online campus pastor? Hi, my name is Brady. I'm the founder of Church Candy, and today we're sitting down with a campus pastor for the online campus of Shoreline City Church in the DFW area to talk through this. Now, before we jump in, I want to invite you to like and subscribe to the channel. We're breaking down online ministry and topics just like this every single week, so I don't want you to miss out. Also, if you have not gotten my book, Plan Your Visit Playbook, you can actually get it for free using the link below, planyourvisitplaybook.com. You can get this book. The book is free. All I ask is that you pay for the shipping, and I'll send it to you free of charge. Now, let's go ahead and jump into the interview. Welcome to the Church Candy Podcast, the podcast of sweet ministry success. I'm your host, Brady Sticker, and let's jump in. Guys, I'm sitting here with Pastor Olu. He is the online campus pastor for Shoreline City Church. They're based in the DFW area. Olu, how are you doing today, man?
I am doing well, Brady. So glad to be on here with you. Yeah, I'm great.
Yeah, so this is exciting. So we actually connected over Instagram. So I've been following Shoreline City for a while. In fact, whenever I was going to Bible college in Dallas, so I went to CFNI, I remember I actually went to one of the Sunday services. Check out what you guys are doing. Loved the service. It was awesome. Message was great. And then I kind of like looked back recently and I was like, oh my gosh, they've like exploded with growth over the past few years, multiple campuses throughout DFW, and the online campus as well. So that's kind of what I wanted to chat through is, what do you think are some of the things that have kind of led to Shoreline City's growth? And you guys are like killing it online too, man. So give us some background there and some things that you guys do, and I think it'd be super beneficial to people listening.
Yeah, I mean, our pastors, Earl and Anika McClellan, they have amazing vision. The church we're about 10, 11 years old now, and it started off as a local church, one campus, and as God has just continued to bring more of his sons and daughters to the church, we needed to grow the church, so we became a multi-site church a few years ago. We've got campuses in the DFW area, San Antonio, Guatemala as well. But we're also online, and that's one of those things where we've always streamed online. We've always been a church, at least since I've been here the last 6 years, where we're going to put our service online. But then this thing in 2020 happened called COVID, and we said, okay, we need to do something here. Actually, going back a little bit before COVID, I remember it was December of 2019. Myself and one of my coworkers, my brother here, we put a proposal together for our pastors for an online campus, and we were wrestling with that question as well. Do we need an online campus? I think it does this align with the vision that God has given your lead or your senior pastor. And then also you've got to go where the people are. If you've got people that are online, if you got people that are in other cities and are saying, "Hey, I'm in tune to the sound of your house," then I think you should honor that. I think you should do what you can to pastor and love and disciple those people. So I think that's where the online campus pastor comes into play. For us, we had people that were, it actually started with people that used to live here. They moved away. They said, "Hey, this is my church. I'm not going anywhere." And because we had online connect groups and things like that, we said, okay, there is a need here for somebody to help us lead this what we were doing online. At the time, we were really just streaming our service. We weren't doing anything other than streaming what was happening at our broadcast location. And over time, as we have grown, as we learn more about how to connect with these leaders online, with these people that call Shoreline City home, we've learned, okay, this is how we tailor our service specifically to these people. There's some things that make sense for somebody that's coming to the church in person, but it might not make sense for somebody that is online only. So I think it really goes down to, are people connected to the church that do not live in the local area?
Yeah, man, that makes sense. Can you give us some specifics on, things that you're doing differently or intentionally for your online campus, separate from, Sunday services in person?
Yeah. So with our church, we look at our online campus the same way we look at any campus. So we want to do as much as possible. So if we're talking about something online, I want to make sure that, hey, is this possible for them? So just because of the nature of the online campus, there's things that we do at our physical locations, like food trucks, for example. I'm not able to bring a food truck to your neighborhood. I wish I could, but I can't do that. But I do not want people online to miss out on any opportunities. So sometimes what I'll do is like, hey guys, here's a QR code that I've put on the screen. Here's a Starbucks gift card to go to Starbucks. Everybody grab one drink, things like that, because I want to make sure that they feel included with everything that's happening online. If we are launching, whether it's connect groups or we're doing something in person, we're also doing it online. So it's really doing as much as possible. If we're doing baptisms, we're doing baptisms at one of our physical locations. We're going to figure out how to do it online. It might mean, okay, somebody is not that far away, or somebody has somebody that can assist them with it. Because baptisms are happening here at our physical location, I want it to happen online for you as well. So it's really, their online campus is no different, other than the fact that I can't see you in the lobbies every single day. One of the things that we are very intentional of doing is join. A lot of churches might call this growth track, or where you go to say, hey, I am a part of the church. At our church at Shoreline City, we don't say members, we say owners. We believe that members have privileges, but owners have responsibilities. So if you're online, you can become an owner as well. And as soon as that happens, you're put into a group chat, you're put into Slack, because we want you to know that, hey, you've got brothers and sisters that you're able to do life with Monday through Saturday, not just on Sundays as well. And it's okay that you do not live in Dallas.
Yeah, man, that's a good point. People not living in the Dallas area. And so I think a lot of the pushback from people listening to this is, okay, but what about the community side of things? Like one of the pillars of the local body, the local church, is, actually like having friends, having community, having, iron sharpens iron, having that, those relationships there. And so, what are some things that you guys are doing to still serve people and give them that community, even though they're not local and they're only, participating in that online campus?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we have wrestled with, and what I've learned about online is, and it's one of those things that it's just the way it is that people will let you know that they're there when they want you to know that they are there. And when you let me know, when you filled out a connect card like, hey, this is so and so, and I'm tuning in from Chicago, I'm going to connect you with other people that are in Chicago. So of course, we have our online connect groups, but we also have watch parties as well. We have people that are meeting in person to watch the service together. So these people are doing life together. We've even had situations where we had a girl in California and a girl in Dallas and a girl in Michigan. They all met in online connect groups. They all went to Michigan for the wedding. So being away physically has not limited people being able to build relationships with each other. Really, you get what you put into it. If you want to grow in your faith, if you want to grow in a relationship with each other, and you really lean into the opportunity that's there, it's going to happen.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Talk to me a little bit more about the community groups that you guys have. Are how structured do you have to be for these? Because I know, like for example, at our church, whenever we call them life groups, and it's super structured. There's 3 semesters a year. It can be topic based or it can be activity based. Because we've got like a basketball life group, and then we have a women's book club, and they do things like that. So for the online community groups, how do you guys structure that, and how involved are you in kind of facilitating those?
Yeah. We say that connect groups are how we do church. That's we believe. Hey, if you want to grow, you've got to be connected relationally. So that's literally how we do church, and we mean it even for our online campus. So we do have seasons. We have or semesters. We have three of those a year: spring, summer, and fall. But honestly, a lot of our connect groups just keep going and going and going, and then we just relaunch with the next season. But I mean, I think it's every campus pastor, whether you're online or physical location, that's we are super involved with the connect groups because that's a great way for people to get connected to what's happening at our church. There are people that are coming to connect groups before they ever attend a service, and that's happening online as well. So with the online connect groups, we have really you can do a connect group on whatever you want. We have Bible studies. We have groups that are book clubs that are reading books together. We have groups that are going over Pastor Earl's sermon together. Right now, we have a Tuesday night group that is working on vision boards and things like that. So the activity groups are a little bit difficult. If you want to do a football group, that's going to be difficult online.
You
But
just
we
play some
have
Madden.
we actually have a video game. We have a group of guys that get together and play video games. We do have that. But the majority of our groups are going to be those that are jumping into the Bible, jumping into the Word, or reading a book together. And we
Yeah.
don't structure to where hey you have to be on Zoom. You can use whatever platform you want to use. If everybody had an iPhone and you just want to do a group FaceTime, that's 100%
There you
okay. If you
go.
want to use Google Meets, whatever you want to use to connect with each other, go ahead and do that. Yeah.
Love it, man. I love it. That's super cool. What are some of the issues that you guys have run into, with online community groups? Because I can think of a couple that might come up, but I'd love to kind of hear your perspective on what are some of the things that you guys have ran into that you've had to solve with your online community groups. But real quick, I want to bring up the sponsor of today's podcast, Church Candy Marketing. Church Candy is an online marketing agency for churches, helping churches get new guests every single Sunday. My name is Brady. I'm actually the founder of Church Candy, and we help churches get new guests with things like Instagram and Facebook ads. So if your church wants to get new guests every single Sunday, you can go to churchcandy.com to schedule a free strategy session to learn how you can get new guests that find your church online every single week. Now, back to the pod.
Honestly, the issues that I have run into would be similar issues that I've run into with an in-person connect group. Is like, okay, we might not know this leader very well and what's happening at this connect group. It's one of those things that, like, as things grow, you kind of lose that proximity to what's happening there. So one of the ways I kind of get in there is I'm having conversations. I've every single person that's hosting an online connect group, I've had a conversation with, and I continue to have conversations with. If not me, one of the leaders that are on my team are having conversations with these people. So these are people that we know. We don't want anybody writing their own book and saying, "Hey guys, buy my book. I'm talking about blah blah blah," and it's something that's crazy that does not align with our house. It does not align with Shoreline City, and these are things that can happen at a in-person connect group as well. So the biggest thing is continuing to have relationships with everybody who is hosting a connect group online.
Yeah, no, man, that makes 100% sense. Just like those issues would come up in person, I could see how they would come up online as well. So I'd love to learn more on, what does your day to day look like as the online campus pastor? Uh, because, and also like, what's the difference between an online campus pastor and then the person that posts on Shoreline City social media? Is because I know a lot of people would probably think, oh yeah, our online campus pastor, they're our social media manager, they're pastoring the online. So I'd love to hear kind of what your main like responsibilities are, and if there is some overlap there on like the social media side of things, and doing posting strategy and things like that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So at Shoreline City, our vision is we're here to raise up Christ-like leaders who make it on earth as it is in heaven. So I take that what we call a Christ-like leader are people that are involved in groups. They're people that are involved in giving, and they're people that are using their gifts that they're serving. So a big part of what I do is connecting with the people that are online that are doing all of these things. As somebody, because honestly, they're not. We have so many different ways to serve in person. We don't have a lot of ways to serve online. Yes, we've got people that are in the chat. We've got a bunch of chat hosts. We have people who are on the prayer team. When you fill out a connect card, you've got leaders that are reaching out to these people and praying with them. So we have those teams, and I'm connecting with everybody that's on those teams. But I'm also connecting with it's a lot of conversations, just like our campus pastors at any location. I'm connecting with the people that are saying, "Hey, I'm a part of your church." And I'm scheduling phone calls with these people. I'm scheduling meetings with these people, and I'm doing what any pastor would hope to do as far as, hey, how can I help you grow in your faith? How can I help you take these next steps? So I love what I get to do, and also here at Shoreline City, there is the people side of things, which is those three areas: groups, gifts, and giving. And then there's also, the YouTube side of things. A lot of people might think social media when it comes to online. I get to work with that team, our comms team and our social media team. But that is not where I oversee. I just work very closely with them. I also get to oversee our YouTube and everything that happens there, and any groups that we might have online. If we have like a Facebook group, a lot of churches do that. But when it comes to our social media, I'm working with them like, hey guys, because I know it's my responsibility to think for the people that are online, and it's really easy for social media to make posts like, hey, come to church on Wednesday night, we're doing this and that. So we're working together to make sure that our posts are also make sense for the people that are online.
Yeah, no, that makes 100% sense. So people listening, there is a difference between your social media like coordinator and communications director. That is a different role than an online pastor. And kind of what I'm hearing is you're pastoring people just like your in-person campus pastors. They're there to pastor the people that go to that campus. You're
Right.
doing that exact same thing just with people that are virtual, that are online, that maybe they live in the area, but for whatever reason, they're just not in a place to come in person, or they live somewhere else in the country, right? And
100%.
and I love that, right? There's a need to pastor people where they're at, and I love that you guys have systems and processes in place to still serve those people, man. I love it. What would you say to a church that might want to consider starting like an online campus and being more intentional with this? Because I think you would probably agree, like having an online campus wouldn't be for every church. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's for everyone. So what are some of the things that if a church is asking, like, should we really be intentional and invest with this? Where would you kind of see them being at? Like, what kind of churches do you think this would make sense for?
Um, yeah, that's a great question. I think, there are some churches that are called, or some pastors are called to plant churches that are going to just minister to people in a certain local area, and that's 100% okay, and that's great. And then there's churches that are, you know, pastoring and leading people all over the world, all over the country, all over their city. And the thing about that is, if you are saying, okay, there are people online that are connected to us, and I want to pastor these people, I think it comes down to intentionality, and communicating to those people specifically. It's really easy to communicate to the people that you see, but you have to know that, okay, I need to take some time out to communicate to these people specifically. So it's knowing whether you're using something like Planning Center as your database to manage people, making a selection, making a section for that online campus, and having a list of people that are a part of that campus, and then start communicating directly to those people. And that could look like text messaging, that can look like weekly emails, whatever it might be. But you want to start communicating to those people, and then it starts from there. Like, hey, what people do I have here? can we start to make groups with these people? Do I need to make a group chat for these people? Do I need to have a maybe a different service for these people? I know there's some churches that might have a their Sunday service is not the same experience that you'll get if you come in person. So it really depends on your unique situation, but I think it just comes down to intentionality.
Yeah, man. I love it. I love it. Well, dude, I think you've been super helpful and super insightful for a lot of pastors out there because, there's, you can't avoid the internet. Like talking to this, but the people listening, you can't avoid the internet. People these days, they're spending most of their time right here on their phones, and
Right.
you want to be able to meet them where they're at. And it's one thing to be intentional with your social media strategy to serve them and give value outside of just saying, "Hey, come to church." It's another to be intentional to a point where you have your own online campus and you have support and you have a pastor there for them, for people that are virtual. At Shoreline City, you guys are doing a great job at that. Olu, can I be blunt with you? Can I ask some questions that I'm sure some other pastors listening to this are probably thinking or wanting to know?
Yeah.
Okay, so like post COVID, I've heard a lot of people, kind of condemn online church, saying that it's going to lead to consumer church. Like that's been one of the problems with the seeker church movement is it's just produced consumer Christians. And with online church, I could definitely see how there's an argument there to be made to where that could lead to a consumer Christian, right? What have you guys seen with that? Like, and another question is like, do you guys have people part of your online campus that are like giving, like financially, like sowing and investing into your ministry? So, anyways, what are you guys seeing with that kind of stuff?
Yeah, and the thing is, we Pastor Earl says this so well. He says whether it's in person or online, that we don't want a church of spectators, we want participators, and that's the same thing online. So that's where it goes back to that groups, gifts, and giving. And when it comes specifically to giving, our online campus is any online campus has unlimited reach and potential. So we have so many givers that are online. It's actually, if I might be mistaken, but it might be the campus that gives the most to Shoreline City, because there are people that are so connected to what God is doing here.
Bro, that's impressive. If that's legit, like you're probably blowing a lot of listeners' minds right now that if that is true. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, man. Because here's the thing: is I think the future is online, right? That I don't think that the local in person church is ever going to go away, but I
Mm-hmm.
think that churches should embrace the internet. I think they should embrace technology, and there's kind of a fork in the road for churches. We can just stream our services. We can, our social media be inward facing, meaning every post is, "Hey, come to this event. Hey, come do this. Hey, come do this." Or the other side of that is we can be intentional and serve people online. You know, even if you don't need to go and like start a whole online campus, even if you're just creating content on social media that isn't just inward facing, that's outward facing, like, pastors are spending hours and hours writing their sermons, and a lot of the times it just sits there on like a YouTube live stream archive.
Mm-hmm.
You can repurpose that by making carousel posts that encourage people, by making clips of that and putting it online, and actually like giving value to people. That's, you can start there, and kind of further, the next step would be, okay, how can we serve people if you see that there's an audience and there's a need for people that are maybe not local, but they're consuming our content online, they're engaging with us there. How can we continue to serve these people? And if God's calling you to start that online campus, do it. And I think Olu would be a great resource. I'm sure he would not mind you sending some questions on his DMs asking, and hey, how did you guys do this? How did you do that? I hope you don't mind me just volunteering you for that.
Not at all. And real quick, another thing about online that I've seen is on the online campus is really the front door to our church. So we're getting a lot of people that are looking for a new church. They're going to go to our online service before they come to our physical locations. And if I meet somebody that's online, and they're in the DFW area, I'm like, hey, here's the address to this campus. Here's the address to that campus. This one's closer to you because I want you to be at the physical location. But if you're a little bit further away, we've got the online option for you as well.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I told you this earlier when we weren't recording, but I remember being a youth pastor, and I was there was like a network group of other youth pastors in our area, and one of the guys he ended up leaving the group because he wasn't a student pastor anymore. He was stepping into an online campus role, and this was right around 2019, 2020. And I remember thinking, like, online campus pastor. And I even thought at the time, I was like, okay, I guess he's just like over their social media. I didn't really have the same insight that you shared today. So, man, thanks for kind of opening up, showing behind the scenes on, what that looks like.
Yeah.
Before we go, I'd love to hear like your counter argument, because I'm sure the comments on this video are going to be like, oh, people need to be plugged into the local body. They shouldn't just be consuming it online. And you kind of touched on that whenever we talked about like, having those online relationships. But, I think there's definitely an argument to be made that there is value in being plugged into a local church and having them go in person. And so what would you say to those people? Let's go ahead and so I don't have to go through and respond to those comments. I can just send them this timestamp. What would you say to that?
Yeah, that's great. I think about the parable of the sower in Luke chapter 8, where the sower is just throwing seed everywhere. And I think that what you're doing as an online ministry, when you're putting yourself online, you're throwing that seed everywhere. It's not going to land on every piece of soil. We know that. And yes, it's very easy for it to land on local soil, but there's going to be people in your city, in your neighborhood, that are driving 45 minutes away in the opposite direction to go to church. And that's 100% okay. And what we're doing online, the seed is going out, and there's people that are in Ohio and saying, hey, I've connected with you. This is my church. And I think that I would be doing a disservice to those people if I don't honor that and begin to pastor those people and love those people exactly where they are.
I love it, man. I love it. I would be very interested to hear a conversation of like Jesus and the disciples back in the day, because I'm sure a lot of Pharisees would be very legalistic and say, oh, it has to be X, Y, and Z. That's where you get the mentality of, well, this is how we've always done it. We've always done it this way. And the only difference to what you guys are doing compared to the old way is we're still loving people. We're still discipling them. We're still helping them step into the purpose that God has for their life. The only difference is they live in Ohio and we're in DFW. If God calls them to a local church in Ohio to get connected, awesome. Best thing for them, whatever God's got for them. But it sounds like people are finding you guys online and they want to get connected. They're resonating with your lead pastor.
Mm-hmm.
And what are you guys going to do? Say, sorry, like, sure, you can listen to us on Sundays, but you need to go to a local church. Sure, you could say that. Or you could say, hey, how could we still serve these people? How could we still disciple them? How could we still like help them in their relationship with God? I think that's so good. But like I said earlier, this isn't going to be something that every church needs to operate in. And I'm not saying that, churches need to drop everything that they're doing and go start an online campus. But I hope that this interview has been helpful to pastors and churches that may be considering it. Pastor Olu, thank you so much for taking the time to hop on today and kind of talk through some of these things. Is there any final words, anything that might not have been brought up that you wanted to kind of give value to the listeners today?
Yeah. One, thanks for having me, Brady. This is such an honor to be on here with you. But one thing that comes to mind when I think online, whether it's social media, online campus, is just fight for clarity. You just want to be clear with the people. I see a lot of people that want to be cool, but fight for clarity and just authenticity as well.
I love it. I love it. Clarity over cool. I love a good alliteration. So, man, is there anything you wanted to plug, or where can people find you if they want to get connected?
Yeah, I think the best way to find me is social media. I am Olu Lawal. You can find me there. And if there's any way I can serve you, help you guys, just give me a shout.
Awesome, guys. Well, hey, we'll put that down in the description below. Thanks so much for hopping on. Guys, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Church Candy Podcast. I want to invite you to like the video and subscribe if you haven't. And if you are listening on iTunes or Apple, to leave a review. That means so much, and it makes a huge difference. Thanks so much for listening or watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
I don't go around the whole globe.